This episode is sponsored by my friends at Bloomerang. You already know your donors care. You see it in every gift and every note that comes back with a check. What you might not know is what they're telling us right now in the data. Bloomerang's 2026 Giving Signal Report surveyed more than 1,000 active donors. 91% say people need more help than ever, and 94% give more when they know exactly where their gift goes. The generosity's there. What's changed isn't the impulse to give, it's what donors need from you to say yes. The question is whether your organization is listening. Bloomerang's giving platform is built for purpose, to help you understand your donors, to help you act on the right signals, and most importantly, to help you raise more. Download the free 2026 Giving Signal Report at bloomerang.com. That's BLOOMERANG.com. And now on to the episode. Hello, and welcome to Nonprofit Nation. I'm your host, Julia Campbell, and I'm going to sit down with nonprofit industry experts, fundraisers, marketers, and everyone in between to get real and discuss what it takes to build that movement that you've been dreaming of. I created the Nonprofit Nation podcast to share practical wisdom and strategies to help you confidently find your voice, definitively grow your audience, and effectively build your movement. If you're a nonprofit newbie or an experienced professional who's looking to get more visibility, reach more people, and create even more impact, then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, this is Julia Campbell, host of Nonprofit Nation. Thank you all for listening today. And we're going to dive into how to capture and reach the next generation of donors. And this week, I'm going to sit down with Logan Vaughan, co-founder and CEO of giftdrive.org. Logan is a senior at the University of Vermont and the co-founder of GiftDrive, a platform that enables nonprofits to create online wish lists and donation drives for physical goods. And we're going to talk about how this idea came to be, what younger donors want. I mean, I'm really encouraging all of you to listen because everyone's always asking me what younger donors want, but it's been a long time since I have been a senior in college. So I encourage you to stick around and listen to this conversation. Logan, this is your first podcast interview. How are you doing? I'm so thrilled that it's Nonprofit Nation.
Yeah, I'm doing great. And thanks so much for having me, Julia. I'm really excited to chat today and just talk about GiftDrive and what we've been doing.
Yes. So tell us about yourself, maybe a little bit about what you're studying, how you got involved with the nonprofit sector and technology.
Yeah, definitely. Well, personally, I've always been pretty involved in nonprofits ever since I was young. Growing up here in Vermont, I was involved in my local church youth group. I'm really involved in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and actually was an Eagle Scout. And I've always been really closely connected to that community, giving back to local food shelves and homeless shelters, doing drives for local children in need and humane societies in my local area. So I've always kind of had that personal connection to giving back and building inside a community setting. Now being here in university at the University of Vermont, I got involved with GiftDrive and came up with the idea a couple of years ago when I was donating to a local angel tree program here in Vermont and had an experience with my family that didn't go as great as it usually did in the past. And that led me to start building GiftDrive.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of how you decided to build this technology and maybe sort of the initiative behind it? Because I think, you've observed that many younger donors prefer to give physical goods rather than cash. So maybe just to start, what do you think is driving that shift and what are you seeing?
Yeah, I think a lot of younger and first-time donors prefer to give physical goods because it is almost like a test of trust and confidence to a nonprofit organization. It's an easy way to make a direct impact where you feel like you can see where the donation is going, and then from there decide to get more involved with the organization, similar to volunteering, to then make a larger monetary donation later on or become more involved in the organization. for me personally, Gift Drive came from the idea that there needs to be more options and ways to donate through physical goods. I had that giving experience a couple years ago with my family where I went to a local Walmart to donate to an angel tree program, and we picked a child off the
Mm-hmm.
tree during the Christmas season, and we walked around Walmart for a long time trying to find specific items that were needed for this child, and a lot of the items were either out of stock or Walmart didn't carry them, and then we waited in long lines during the busy holiday season to get the donation made. And then at the end of the donation process, we realized we had to drive the donation all the way 25 minutes down the road to the actual nonprofit. And after that experience, I kind of walked out thinking, there's got to be an easier way to do this. There's got to be a way that technology can help make the donation process easier, especially for drives like this. So from then, I went and started talking to local nonprofits, the one that ran the drive, and then also other nonprofits here in Vermont, and learned that this was an issue and something that a lot of nonprofits and donors alike were looking to add.
Wow. There is that disconnect sometimes between what corporations think. They think, oh, well, we're doing a great service, but they don't understand putting the onus like that on the donor is really going to discourage donations. And if you have a bad experience, you're going to probably tell people, or if someone says,
Yeah.
hey, I want to do the angel tree thing, you might say, oh, well, be prepared because it's all going to be out of stock and you're going to have to drive 25 minutes and this and that. And I think that would, and especially in the era that we're living in on social media, I think that is something that could easily go like viral on TikTok or Instagram and really discourage people from donating. Why do you feel like physical donations feel more tangible? Like you said, do you think it's just a test of trust?
Yeah, I think actually for a new donor, kind of similar to volunteering, having a personal connection to a certain object or an item and be able to track that item as it makes its way to the person in need. I think it's also, for the most part, just a very simple way to donate, especially with online platforms like Gift Drive, where it can be a really fast and easy and simple process. But overall, I think, yeah, the vow of trust is really important for donors. It's the simplicity of knowing where the donation is going and that you're making a direct impact, and then expecting to see the reaction from the donors or the person or the impact you make from the organizations back.
All right, so let's walk through the technology. Sort of how does it work from a nonprofit perspective and from a donor perspective?
Yeah, definitely. So on Gift Drive, nonprofit organizations can create a wish list in just minutes. Similar to other online registries like baby registries or wedding registries, they can create a list with items that they need for a specific drive or just ongoing. So either a food shelf that needs items all the time, or a holiday drive that's only during a couple months in the year. And then they can publish their drive live and share it with their current donor base or potentially new donors, where those donors can go online, browse needed items, complete their donation within the platform in just minutes, and then have the items shipped straight to the organization or even a person in need. And then on the back end, nonprofit organizations can get the tooling they need to make the donation process easier, faster, and simpler for them as well. So ways to send out automated tax receipts to donors after they complete their donation, ways to see exactly who donated, so their full email, phone number, address, to be able to follow up and create better donor communications and engagement. And then also ways to make their life easier by being able to connect that data up to their CRM systems or embed it directly into their website. And overall, Gift Drive was just built to make the lives of nonprofits easier to run these types of donation drives and wish lists, while also making it easier for donors to give in any way they want to give.
So what were the shortcomings that you noticed in existing tools like Amazon wish lists and maybe some other platforms?
Yeah, so Amazon Wishlist is a platform that's used by most nonprofits, not because it really solves the problem they're facing, but because it's really the only thing they know about. And through talking to a lot of nonprofits here in Vermont that were using them, we learned a lot of interesting things. For one, nonprofits can't customize the donation experience of their donors to match their branding and their communication style. The most important thing we learned was that when someone creates a donation, there's no way for them to send an automated tax receipt or see exactly who is donating and what was donated. So a lot of times the connection gets lost right after the donation is made. And for first-time donors who are making that first-time donation, they want to be able to carry on that engagement with the nonprofit organization. So that was a really big problem they were facing with Amazon wish lists.
I see a similar issue with meta fundraising tools
Yeah.
where they're convenient, they're easy, they're what people kind of know, and clicking the donate button is so easy to make the two taps donation, but you don't get information on the donor, and you can't use that to create this longer term relationship that you're talking about. So I think that is so interesting. Also, I really think that this leans into the expectations that younger donors might have around, transparency and technology. Can you talk about that? Like, what expectations do younger donors have?
Yeah, I think younger donors have a different relationship with technology as a whole, and therefore a
Yes.
different relationship with nonprofits that use technology. My generation has grown up using technology and expecting everything to be as instant and fast and as transparent as everything else we use, from e-commerce to other fundraising platforms to just normal tools and social media that we use in our day-to-day life. And I think nonprofits, it's not on them to really adapt, but it's on the people that are building technology to support nonprofits to be able to adapt and make that processes and the things that donors are using as simple as everything else they're using in their life.
Mm-hmm. What else do you see nonprofits maybe getting wrong when trying to engage your generation of donors? What are some ways we
I
can
think,
improve?
yeah, I think the best way to learn is to just ask. And that's hard in every sense. Even when we were building Gift Drive, you learn way more by just having conversation and asking them what their needs are and what they want and where they're coming from and the impact they want to make. And I think organizations can benefit from that as well. Going to the donors in a younger generation and be like, how would you want to make a difference? What donation would you want to make? How do you want to be involved? And what, on the other side, communication do you want to receive about the impact of your donation and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that? I did a local pitch competition here in Vermont, and afterwards, another student came up to me and was like, "That was an amazing idea. I donate to the American Red Cross Association, and their blood drive program. The favorite thing about it is that you get a notification when when the blood is delivered to the person in need,
Oh, I
and
love
something
that.
yes, and something that simple can be fully automated by tools like ours, and it takes no more extra time or effort by a nonprofit organization, but it can make the biggest difference for a donor. Building things like that, I think, are really important and can make a huge difference.
Does Gift Drive do something similar
Yeah,
where the person finds out how their physical donations were used? Because I do think that's another issue with Amazon wishlist is you don't know there's no way to contact you. So
yeah,
you could buy a bunch of diapers, but you have no idea if they actually made it to the family.
yeah, exactly. We've created fully built tools to have donors and organizations alike be able to track the shipping of the donation when it's delivered, and then also have, without putting too much work on organizations, make it easy for them to communicate back to the donors the impact of their donation. So yeah, that's pretty much woven in entirely in our product.
Oh, that's really cool. And does it integrate with their CRM? And so then they can see, oh, this donor is a recurring donor, but they've also donated physical gifts.
Yes, so we have fully integrated with like Little Green Light, Bloomerang, Salesforce, the whole gamut of majority of the big CRM systems to again make it as simple and easy for nonprofits to use as possible. And that way the data is not fragmented out, and it helps them more than it hurts them. Um, no having to like download, like even Amazon wish lists, having to download spreadsheets of the needed items. Items have been donated and non-donated too.
Oh, right. Okay. So it kind of automates all of that.
Yeah.
Now, are these items that are being purchased online, or if it's a local food bank, can they set it up where I could go and drop off donations?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
great point, actually. Most of the items on our platform are from other e commerce retailers that we partner with. So we partner with Amazon, Walmart, Target, Costco, a whole gamut of retailers to have their items on our platform. And then they handle all the fulfillment when they're purchased and donated and shipped. But we've begun looking into how we can partner with already existing support systems like local food banks to also use those resources and give more options to donors and organizations alike on the items they want to be donating and how they want that process to work. So that's something we're currently working on right now. And in the next couple of months, we'll hope to partner with more food banks and other support organizations like that.
Yes, and I know this time of year, summer is especially a big time for like school supply drives and backpack drives and
Yes.
a lot of those different materials. And I've been getting a lot of requests for that. So, one of your core philosophies that I really respect is building Gift Drive alongside the organizations that you are serving. So, what does that collaboration kind of look like in
Yeah.
practice?
Well, from the beginning, everything we did was in the room with a nonprofit. So from that first giving experience I had, the next day I went and spoke with the person running that drive and learned about their problems and pain points. And actually, in that giving experience too, that organization pulled out a paper binder, and that's how they were running their drive. It was entirely on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a good like initial wow, like there's a whole gamut of tools and ways people run donation drives and wish lists. And then from that point forward, just talking to nonprofits, any type of nonprofit, animal shelters, homeless shelters, food shelves, and learning about their pain points and problems and building things fully based on their feedback and personal experiences, because they know way more than we do, obviously. Mm-hmm. And even now, like now having some successful drives on the platform and hearing also the things that have happened and the benefits that a lot of the nonprofits have had by using us. Just for example, during the SNAP crisis this past fall,
yes,
a local food shelf raised over $12,000 of food in a couple of days. And it was great to hear from that organization be like, not only did we share this drive, but the donors started sharing the drive on our behalf. And we had this whole gamut of new donors that came in because people really were passionate about giving during this kind of crisis. And then another family center here in Vermont, they ran a holiday drive and they doubled the size of their holiday drive from the previous year. And they told us that in the past years, they would have to take money out of their budget and go and buy items in person because they couldn't raise enough donations from donors. But this year, they're able to save $6,000 from their budget that now can go to something else, which is pretty amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, things like that. And even a homeless shelter this past winter during the cold snap up here in the Northeast, we got an email randomly one day where they said that items purchased through Gift Drive had actually saved people's lives on the street that would have frozen to death if they hadn't gotten these resources. And that was like a pretty big moment for our team. Be like, wow, this is actually making a difference.
Wow. So it's like really, truly saving lives. And then also just making it so much more easy and impactful for donors. Because I do think some tech companies, certainly not Bloomerang, I love them, but some tech companies are really only thinking about one or the other. They're thinking about like how to serve the nonprofit, or they're thinking about how to serve the donor. And products that serve both are the ones that I think are really going to succeed, and the ones that make me really happy. But for you and your friends and people your age, what's the best way for a nonprofit to sort of follow up with you after the physical donation? Like, is it social media? Is it email? Is it texting?
Yeah, I think a variety of ways. I personally love being put on newsletters. That might be a hot take, but I really think it's impactful to get...
See, that's a myth that people think that your generation doesn't like newsletters. Okay.
I really think it's impactful to get a reminder every single month of what's going on and ways I can help and ways I can, and get just like a summary of what's going on and how I can be involved. I do also like, I think the personal outreach that's not through a platform that already exists, but a personal email to a donor is really impactful, and asking them, how do you want to be involved? Or is there any way I can help you be involved? And again, the social media thing as well. People my age are just so used to those tools already, and it can be such an easy way to just communicate clearly the information on the organization and the programming they're running in ways that you can get more involved and help. So I think there's a variety of different ways. And I think folks my age aren't that much different to figure out. I think it's just giving the options and keeping them in the loop and keeping them engaged with what's going on and what the organization is doing.
Yeah. What kind of content do you like nonprofits to share on social media, like when you're looking at causes?
Can you reiterate that question a little bit?
Sure.
Or like, yeah,
So for me, I do a lot of work with my clients around social media and digital marketing, and
yeah,
they're always looking to reach the next generation of donors,
yes.
and they're always looking to create content that is relevant and engaging. So what kinds of things do you like to see from maybe the causes you support in that email newsletter, on social
Yeah.
media, in that follow-up?
I think it's always important to say up front what the impact of that donation will be. I also think it's important to try to find partnerships to engage more. I think something we've talked about a lot about is
Yes.
helping organizations connect with younger audiences where there are people who want to give back. So
Mm-hmm.
local schools and clubs, local, groups of people who are already interested in giving back and care about a certain topic that you're working on. For instance, one of organizations on our site is working with a local school to run a drive with their club. And it's a way for them to get engaged with a younger
Mm-hmm.
audience through that and then have them share it with the other people that are interested in that topic. I
Mm-hmm.
think in the terms of marketing sense, I think short form video is the way
Yes.
to go. Our attention spans are so short and you have to really grasp it as fast as
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that takes a lot of effort and a lot of work though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always the most easy thing for organizations that don't have a lot of resources. So
Right.
at a base level, just putting something out to keep people engaged and keep people in the loop is the best way to go about it, I think.
So I know that Gift Drive has this functionality built in. How can organizations really promote their drives or their campaigns effectively? Like what approach, how should they approach it if they've never done it before?
Yeah. So we have a couple different tips we always share with organizations after they publish their drive. The easiest thing to do is just post a simple thing on social media. Hey, we're doing this drive for this cause. These are the things that we're looking for. Here's how it works. Here's the impact of your donation. Please share it with anyone else that you think might be interested in donating
Mm-hmm.
or getting involved in. I think
Mm-hmm.
putting it in a newsletter is also a huge way to promote and make it easy for someone who might only have a couple seconds of their day to look at what your organization is doing to see is there anything I can do fast and quick to donate or make an impact. I think posting it in places like forums. Here in Vermont, we have Front Porch Forum, which is like a community newsletter. And I think that is a really great way to drive new eyeballs towards what you're doing, especially if you make it easy to quickly go on and donate and understand the impact that you can make with it. So
Mm-hmm.
those are a couple of the things we try to support organizations doing. The biggest one we've worked on recently is having them actually embed their drive directly into their website. So
Mm.
the donor doesn't even have to go to giftdrive.org. They can just donate directly through the wish list page on any website. So, for instance, the food shelf can have a page on their website where the donor can just go on and donate
Wow.
without you ever having to go to giftdrive.org.
Oh, that would be really exciting because I know all those websites, when I do my audits and assessments, they all have ways to get involved or learn more.
Yeah.
And it's usually, if you want to donate physical items, call this number. And that's
Yes.
not.
Or it's go to a third party link like an Amazon wish
Yes.
list where there's more
Yes.
barriers to a donation or donors might not feel comfortable using it. So being able to build things and put them in places where it's as easy as possible to reach and donate to.
Yes. This is so great. Well, as Gift Drive grows, like what are sort of your goals? What opportunities excite you the most?
I think for me, my team, it's all about supporting nonprofits in any way we can. Personally, I just love learning about the good that people are doing
Yes.
and if we can have any way in supporting that good and doing good alongside them, I think that's like the end goal. And for us, it's all about just supporting as many nonprofits across the US that we can, learning and just going along for the ride, honestly. We've kind of gotten this great base of around 200 nonprofits now, and I think it's all kind of only up from here. And the stronger the platform gets, the more it supports organizations, the more organizations we're supporting, everyone benefits. So yeah.
I think that's so fantastic. Do you have any? Oh, you do have a statistic that I pulled from your bio. Supported more than 55 organizations, but now it's 200. How many item donations?
We've had, let me pull that up real quick. It changes
because
every day because we're having
it does
donations come through
change.
every day.
Right.
But as of right now, we have it live on our website too, so you can go on and see it. We've had over 5,800 items donated, physical
Wow.
goods donated through the site. And we haven't even been live for a year yet. So if you think about 5,400 items, I would have to imagine that's a couple full truckloads of goods,
Hmm.
ranging from cans of soup all the way to like we had like generators and trailers that have been donated. It's the whole gamut of things. We've had some really cool organizations on the site too. We've had the normal food shelves, homeless shelters, but we've also had oceanographic societies. We've had hockey teams, nonprofit hockey teams, and a bunch of other really cool, unique nonprofits who are doing some really cool work and could use something like gift drive.
That was my next question, because I know for me, a lot of my listeners might be thinking, oh, well, I'm not a food bank or a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
How can I best use Gift Drive?
Yeah. I think any organization could have a way to use gift drive. I also do think that as an organization, you should think about the problems you're currently facing and if it's worth the time to do something like this.
Mm.
I think a lot of organizations try a lot of different things. And I
Yes,
think
they do.
before starting a platform, before doing a new platform like Gift Drive or anything else like that, I think it's always good to look inward at your organization and be like, is this a problem we're actually facing? Is this a solution we actually need? And then if it is, I think going forward and looking more into it would be great. So I like to like I don't like organizations to force themselves into something they don't necessarily need because
Yeah,
they
don't
can
look
put
for
their
the
time.
solution without identifying the problem. Don't look for a solution
Exactly.
that doesn't have a problem.
Exactly. But that being said, in-kind goods and physical goods are a great launchpad to get new donors.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very, very easy way to get those new donors in the door and create a first time relationship with them. And even if you don't take in physical goods throughout the entire year, there are still probably points that you could look at in your organization where you take in physical goods. For instance, a fundraiser or a silent auction.
Mm-hmm.
There have been organizations on Gift Drive that I put up items on their drive list that are then put into a silent auction for people to bid on. And
Mm.
it's not necessarily the same relationship you think as like purchasing food that's going to a direct service organization, going to someone in need. Instead, you're purchasing an item that'll get auctioned on to eventually raise money. So there's some unique ways you can use Gift Drive. But
Oh.
yeah, I would just look inward at your organization and then look at the platform. And if it's something that seems like a good fit and that would benefit your organization, then test it out along like every other platform out there.
Mm-hmm. What I think is so great about physical gift drives is that they're so shareable, because people really, I don't know, I feel like when I share a fundraising link, it's harder for people to wrap their brain around, like, how much do I give? Does my gift really make a
Yes.
difference? I don't know what to do. Sharing the fundraising link is not doesn't go as viral as sharing a gift, like a drive of physical goods. I find that in
Yeah.
my life all the time. Like, if I send out Beverly Bootstraps is looking for 20 backpacks,
Yeah.
instantly 20 backpacks are given, because people, it's like, oh, I have an extra back, or I'm going back to school shopping, I'll just pick up an extra backpack and donate it. And I think what's so great about this is that that gets the organization in front of probably brand new people, because it is so shareable, and in front of a brand new audience and brand new network that they can then build a relationship with. Are you seeing that happen?
Yes, we've gotten a lot of feedback from organizations that the majority of the people donating through Gift Drive are actually new donors, people who are
Amazing.
not donating as frequently as other donations. And I think it's because the barrier of a donation is so low. It feels like you're giving on an e-commerce platform, which almost everyone has at some point in their life, or has
Mm-hmm.
purchased something through an e-commerce platform at some point in their life. And it also feels like it's something that is simple and you know exactly where the donation is going. And I think from then it's like up to the organization to take that donor and try to capture them into a larger reoccurring donor. And
Right.
honestly, for gift driving, we a lot of organizations have told us it's kind of like a pipeline tool for them, like a pipeline of new
Mm.
donors. Be like, here's an easy way to donate. If they find someone new through this platform, they can then try to capture them and turn them into a longer term supporter.
and build that relationship rather than having that one-time drop-off of food where, if you stick around to get the tax receipt or if you just drop it off, so
Yeah.
like I'm thinking a Savers or like a Goodwill, you can just drop stuff off and then
Yeah.
drive away, and Goodwill would never know that you came. So
Yes.
I think using technology to do these kinds of drives as much as you can to capture the information to help you then build that pipeline of donors, I think it's just fantastic.
I also
If
think
you,
on the
yeah,
other
go ahead.
side of that too, for donors, they might drop off that donation that one time and they just might not know how to continue donating.
Mhm.
They might not if they don't give their personal information to the nonprofit, they have no idea if there's more drives going on or if there's other ways to donate or if there's other things going on that they're interested that the nonprofit is working on and doing. So I think it goes for both ways as well, for both the organization and the donor.
Oh, it's like a win-win for everybody. I love what you're saying about it being kind of a gateway and a pipeline, because I definitely can see that some organizations that I've supported for years, I started off either giving to a drive or giving to a friend's physical drive, and then became more involved with the organization, learned more about them, and became a regular donor. And it's just a great, and it's also, if the experience is great, it's like you said, this all came out of, a missed opportunity one Christmas. And it's all about, trying to turn those missed opportunities into more successful, impactful campaigns. So this is great. All right. If you could give nonprofit leaders one piece of advice about preparing for the next generation of donors, what would it be?
I think I would reiterate what I've said already before. Go out and talk to them. Mm-hmm. Go to your local university, go to your local high school and find clubs and people who are interested in what you're doing and learn how they want to be involved, learn how they want to donate, learn what ways they're already donating, and go from there. Mm-hmm. I think even in every part of life, I think talking to someone and learning about their experiences and what they're interested in and how they want to go about their life or make an impact is the best way to learn. And for us, it's worked so far. And I think for nonprofits, it's a pretty easy way to learn a lot as well, whether it be through focus groups or just even reaching out to people on social media that might have donated, that are younger donors, and seeing how they want to get involved.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Talking to people, imagine that. Actually
in this world.
In this world. I think that's really great advice. So you say you're a senior. Are you a rising senior or have you graduated?
I'm going into my senior year at UVM.
So what's next for you?
I think the goal for me and the rest of my team is to try to make Gift Drive somewhat successful enough to be able to do this full time after graduation. We've dug really deep over the last couple of years, and we've found that there's a real problem here and something that we are solving. And there's nothing I want more to do in my life and career than to help other people and support other people who are helping other people. And I think Gift Drive gives that amazing opportunity. And over the next year, we have the opportunity to try to grow it and figure out how we can continue to make that difference and impact, and ideally have this be a career for us as well.
Oh, wow. That's so great. Well, I'm sure everyone listening, we wish you the best of luck in your senior year. That's so exciting. And you'll have to come back on when you graduate, and then we can talk about growth and what's been going on for the past year. But I really appreciate it. Where can people connect with you online and learn more about Gift Drive?
Yeah, definitely. So if anyone is interested, if you're in a nonprofit organization or just interested in Gift Drive, you can go to giftdrive.org, giftdrive.org, and learn more about the work we're doing and see the organizations that are actually using our platform and the impact they're having. And I'm on LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to connect with me if you're at all interested. I'd love to chat and learn more about your organization.
All right. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julia.
Well, hey there. I wanted to say thank you for tuning into my show and for listening all the way to the end. If you really enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, and you'll get new episodes downloaded as soon as they come out. I would love if you left me a rating or a review, because this tells other people that my podcast is worth listening to. And then me and my guests can reach even more earbuds and create even more impact. So that's pretty much it. I'll be back soon with a brand new episode. But until then, you can find me on Instagram at JuliaCampbell77. Keep changing the world, you nonprofit unicorn.